Okay, imagine this. You're out there sailing or maybe flying over what looks like a perfectly calm bit of the Atlantic Ocean.
Right. Blue skies, maybe?
Exactly. Weather's clear, everything seems fine, and then suddenly your instruments just start going haywire. Your compass is spinning, maybe the GPS flickers, then dies. You try the radio. Static. Just pure static.
And then nothing.
And then silence.
Yeah.
You're just gone. No mayday, no wreckage, no sign. Just vanished.
It's that absolute vanishing act that's so chilling, isn't it? It gets under your skin.
It really does. And that feeling, that mystery is exactly where we're going today. Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. We're tackling one of the world's most, persistent and frankly captivating mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, and you've given us a great mix of sources to sift through: old historical logs, modern scientific reports, even some pretty imaginative takes on it all.
All right, so our mission here is to give you a shortcut, cut through some of the noise, get to the core facts, but also explore that deeper human thing. Why are we so drawn to this enigma? Why does it hold such power over our imagination?
Exactly. It's not just about what happened, but why we care so much. So the big question we're asking is this place really cursed? Some kind of paranormal hotspot? Or is it just, profoundly misunderstood? Maybe even by us.
Let's start unpacking that. First off, what is the Bermuda Triangle, geographically speaking?
Okay, so broadly, it's this huge, invisible, triangular area out in the western North Atlantic.
Invisible, yeah, that's key.
The points are usually pegged as Miami, Florida, the island of Bermuda, way out in the Atlantic,
Right.
and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Connect those dots, and you've got this massive slice of ocean.
How massive are we talking?
Oh, huge. Over 500,000 square miles, maybe more, depending on who you asked. It's a vast area. And yet the name itself, Bermuda Triangle, it just instantly brings up these images, these feelings, right?
Totally. Fear, wonder, maybe a bit of morbid curiosity. It's like shorthand for the unexplained.
Exactly. And what's really interesting, digging into the sources you gave us, is that this aura of mystery, it started way, way before anyone called it the Bermuda Triangle.
You mean like how far back?
We're talking centuries, back to the 1400s. Christopher Columbus, actually.
I'm forgetting Columbus.
Yeah. On his first voyage across the Atlantic, sailing right through this region, his logs mention seeing, strange lights in the sky. He called one a great flame of fire that fell into the sea.
Wow, okay.
And he also noted his compass acting up suddenly, just behaving erratically for no apparent reason.
So even back then, something weird was going on, or at least being observed.
Precisely. It shows that observations of strange phenomena there predate any modern tech failures. It wasn't just about planes and radios in the 20th century. Something about the environment itself seemed off, even to early explorers. It kind of sets the stage, you know?
It definitely does. And fast forward a few centuries into the 1900s, and those strange little observations, they explode into major headlines. That's when the legend really takes off.
Oh, yeah. We start getting these really dramatic stories. Pilots lost in perfectly clear skies. Big Navy ships vanishing without so much as a single SOS.
Like the USS Cyclops, right?
Right.
Huge. A massive Navy collier, over 300 people on board. Vanished in 1918 somewhere near Barbados after leaving port. No distress call, no wreckage ever found. Gone.
And then there were those airliners in the late 40s. Star Tiger, Star Ariel.
Exactly. British South American Airways planes. Both disappeared on flights between Bermuda and other islands. Again, experienced crews, good weather reported, then just silence. Nothing.
The pattern seems to be the suddenness, the lack of communication.
That's what really amps up the mystery, I think. It's not just that they went missing, it's the way they went missing. So cleanly, so completely.
And sometimes, did the rescue missions also run into trouble? That's the other truly baffling layer. Sometimes, yeah. Rescue teams sent out to find the missing would also disappear. It just adds this impossible element to it all.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the most iconic case, the one everyone knows, Flight 19.
Yes. December 1945. Gotta talk about Flight 19.
Absolutely. So 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers, they take off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's just a return training flight, navigation exercise over water.
Should have been straightforward. The weather wasn't perfect, maybe a bit choppy later on, but generally okay when they started. But then things went wrong. Very wrong.
The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, he was experienced, right? A combat veteran.
He was, but he got completely disoriented. His compasses were apparently malfunctioning, maybe both of them.
Yeah.
He thought he was over the Florida Keys, but radio direction findings suggested he was way out over the Atlantic, east of Florida.
And the radio transmissions, they captured that confusion, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. You hear them trying to figure out where they are, Taylor saying he can't see land, that the ocean doesn't look right, everything's wrong.
And that last bit. We are entering white water. Nothing seems right.
Yeah.
Just chills.
Yeah. What does white water even mean out there? Some strange atmospheric thing. Heavy seas, we just don't know. And then, that was it. Silence.
5 planes, 14 men, vanished.
And no wreckage ever found, despite massive searches. Nothing.
But it doesn't end there, does it?
No. Because they sent out a rescue plane later that day, a big PBM Mariner flying boat, 13 crew members on board. It also disappeared. Vanished off radar. Gone.
So 6 aircraft, 27 men in one afternoon, just gone.
Just like that. And that incident, Flight 19, more than any other, really cemented the Bermuda Triangle legend in the public mind, the scale of it, the complete mystery, the loss of the rescuers, too. It's just staggering.
It really is. The lack of answers is almost deafening. But, okay, here's the thing that seems like a contradiction. This area, this triangle of mystery, it's actually one of the busiest patches of ocean in the world, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a major highway for ships and planes. Cruise ships, cargo vessels, private yachts, commercial airliners. Thousands pass through safely every single day, every week, every year. Millions of uneventful passages.
So that's the paradox. If it's so busy and mostly safe, why do these few, admittedly dramatic disappearances grab all the attention?
Well, partly it's human nature, right? We focus on the unusual, the dramatic, the scary. A plane landing safely isn't news. A plane vanishing without a trace, that's a story that lasts for decades.
And the sources point this out too, like maritime insurance companies, Lloyd's of London, for instance. They don't actually classify the triangle as exceptionally dangerous, do they?
No, they don't. Statistically, based on the sheer volume of traffic, the number of losses isn't disproportionately high compared to any other heavily traveled part of the ocean. The U.S. Coast Guard says the same thing. From a purely statistical standpoint, there's nothing especially dangerous about the area itself.
Okay, that's really important context for you listening. Statistically, it's not a death trap. So if it's not numbers, it must be the nature of the disappearances that captures us, the ones that seem to defy logical explanation.
Exactly. It's the quality, not the quantity. It's the Flight 19s, the Cyclopses, the ones where the vanishing act seems so complete, so inexplicable. Those are the ones that fuel the legend.
Right. So let's talk about the logical explanations then. What does science say could be going on?
Well, scientists and experts have offered quite a few plausible, natural explanations for many of these incidents.
Like the weather, that seems obvious for the Atlantic.
Definitely. That region is known for incredibly sudden, violent storms, water spouts, even rogue waves, single massive waves that can appear out of nowhere and could swamp a ship or damage a low-flying plane in seconds. Hurricanes are common too, obviously.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Then you've got the Gulf Stream. It's a massive, powerful ocean current that flows right through the area. It's like a river within the ocean, moving very fast.
And that could carry wreckage away.
Exactly. It could disperse debris over huge distances very quickly, making it incredibly hard, maybe impossible, to find any trace of a wreck, especially from older incidents.
Okay, what about below the surface? I've heard about gas.
Ah, yes, methane hydrates. That's a fascinating one. The theory is that there are large deposits of frozen methane gas trapped in sediments on the ocean floor.
Right.
If something destabilizes these deposits, an underwater tremor, maybe a change in temperature, they can suddenly release enormous bubbles of methane gas that rise to the surface.
And what would that do to a ship?
It could drastically reduce the density of the water, so much so that a ship sailing over it could lose buoyancy almost instantly and just sink like a stone, potentially very quickly without time for a distress call.
Wow. Okay, that sounds pretty dramatic. And plausible.
It is. It's been demonstrated in labs, and methane seeps are known to exist in the area.
And what about the compass problems? Like Columbus reported, and Flight 19 seemed to experience.
Magnetic anomalies. The Earth's magnetic field isn't perfectly uniform, and there are areas where it fluctuates more than others. Some sources suggest the triangle might be one such area.
So it could genuinely mess with compasses.
Potentially, yes, especially older compasses, or maybe even interfere with certain electronic navigation systems under the right conditions. Add human error in response to confusing instrument readings, and you can see how crews could get lost.
So we've got bad weather, strong currents, sinking gas bubbles, magnetic weirdness.
Yeah.
These all sound pretty reasonable. They could explain a lot of incidents, right?
They absolutely could, and likely do explain the vast majority of disappearances and accidents in the area, just like they do in other parts of the ocean.
Yeah, I sense a but coming.
Well, the but is, do they explain everything? Do they fully account for the total lack of wreckage in some cases, the complete silence, the sheer strangeness of reports like Flight 19's Whitewater? For some people, these scientific explanations, while valid, don't quite seem to cover the sheer weirdness of the most famous cases. There are still these little gaps, these lingering questions that science hasn't definitively answered for every single incident.
And when there are gaps in knowledge?
Exactly. That's where human nature kicks in. We are fundamentally pattern-seeking, storytelling creatures. When facts fall short or seem incomplete,
Imagination fills the void.
precisely. And that's when we get into the other kinds of explanations, the ones that go beyond conventional science.
Right. This is where we hear the really wild theories.
Yep. Alien abductions are a classic one. The idea that extraterrestrials are using the triangle as a sort of collection zone.
Or time warps, like ships or planes slipping into another dimension or another time.
That's another popular one. Portals to elsewhere. Or maybe even remnants of some advanced ancient civilization, like Atlantis, with leftover technology that interferes with modern vessels. Underwater cities, strange energy fields.
Okay, yeah, that stuff sounds pretty far-fetched, let's be honest.
It does sound far-fetched, and there's generally zero credible evidence for any of it. But think about why these ideas persist.
Because the mystery is so compelling. Because the conventional answers aren't quite enough for some people.
I think so. It taps into that deep human desire for there to be more to the world than just what we can see and measure. When something truly defies our understanding, like a plane vanishing off the face of the earth, our minds reach for explanations, any explanation, even extraordinary ones.
So these stories, even the wild ones, tell us more about ourselves than about the triangle itself, maybe.
That's a really interesting way to put it, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. Maybe the true mystery isn't located between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Maybe it's located inside us.
How so? Explain that a bit more.
Well, maybe the triangle acts like a giant mirror. It reflects back our own relationship with the unknown. It reflects our fears of getting lost, of forces beyond our control. It reflects our curiosity, our need to ask, what if? And it definitely reflects our deep-seated desire for wonder, for believing that not everything in the world is mapped, measured, and explained away.
So it serves the psychological purpose almost. A place on the map where mystery is still allowed to exist.
You could certainly see it that way. In an age where we feel like we know almost everything or can Google the answer in seconds, the Bermuda Triangle reminds us that maybe we don't. maybe there are still frontiers, still things beyond our current grasp.
Okay, so let's try and bring this together for you listening. We've covered a lot of ground.
Wow.
Is the Bermuda Triangle a real physical place?
Yes, absolutely. The coordinates are on the map. It's a defined area of the Atlantic Ocean. Ships sail there, planes fly there every single day. It exists.
But is it cursed? Is it uniquely dangerous? A paranormal vortex?
Well, that really depends on your perspective, doesn't it? Based on the evidence, the statistics. Probably not in the way the legends portray it. The dangers seem to be the natural, albeit sometimes extreme, perils of the sea and sky in that region.
But the idea of it.
The idea of it is powerful. For some, it remains a genuine mystery that demands a concrete scientific solution. They'll keep looking for that one unifying theory.
And for others,
Maybe its value lies in its ambiguity. It's a reminder that not every question needs an immediate, neat answer. It's a space for wonder. And maybe that's okay. Maybe we need places like that in our mental landscape.
that's a really compelling thought. So we've gone from Columbus seeing weird lights to modern science talking about methane gas, from vanished bombers to, well, thoughts about human nature itself.
It really shows that the Bermuda Triangle is much more than just geography, doesn't it? It's this incredible blend of actual history, ongoing science, and our powerful human imagination.
It really forces us to confront the line between the known and the unknown.
And our own reactions to crossing that line, it challenges us to embrace the questions, not just hunt for the answers.
So maybe the next time you hear the phrase Bermuda Triangle, or even just look out at a vast ocean, remember that. Some places aren't just points on a map, they're invitations.
Invitations, I like that. Invitations to imagine, perhaps, to wonder, to ask those big questions and maybe just let them hang in the air for a while.
Exactly. Because the world, thankfully, is still full of mystery. Still full of things we don't fully understand.
And maybe it's not something to always fear or solve immediately. Maybe that's part of what makes it fascinating, part of what makes it beautiful.